Hey guys, it's time to do my weekly recap for the week of January 19th, but Monday was a holiday. So, this was just, it's just another difficult week. Every week is difficult. I don't know, except for the 2 weeks at the end of December, which I felt like had beautiful price action. All my setups worked. Every week it feels awful. Um, I did lose my account this week, my 25K, and I'll talk about which trade put me over the edge. But yeah, just super, super disappointed. So um, I'm not going to talk too much about like why enter because I don't have an edge. So there's no point into going into detail because they don't work. So um, seemingly. I took two L's Tuesday, which just felt like an awful way to start the week. It's been a while that I've taken two losses in a day. I took two trades every day this week, which is a little high for me. Last week, I think I only took one a day, but I take the setups when I see them, and my max is two trades a day, at least for now. Um, the first trade, I don't know. At the time, I thought both trades were pretty textbook. I was fine with both of them. The first trade I took a long right here, even though this is a setup of mine. I kind of placed my stop a little bit wrong. It's a mistake I've made before. So where I'm willing to enter a trade is based off like where I put my stop because I have a max risk on my trades. And sometimes what I'll do, I've largely gotten over this, but I will not place it correctly because I want to be in the trade. It's kind of a version of FOMO where I don't want to miss being in the trade. So I'm willing to like come in higher or lower. In this case, higher. My stop is in place correctly, and in this case, it like I would have gotten stopped out. But actually, if I had done my stop correctly, I just wouldn't have entered the trade at all. This is probably hard to explain. Just it's probably hard to understand me with me just explaining it. But I do have a little system on like how I put my stops. It was kind of a gray area. Like I don't think it was a blatant like disregard for my rules, but I think in the future, if there's a gray area like this, I need to be more on the conservative side. And I don't know, I didn't want to do that because I wanted to be in the trade. Second trade, I thought was textbook. It was a short off this level up here. Didn't work for me, which was super disappointing. But anyway, moving on. Wednesday, my first trade was a loss. So I was continuing this losing streak, which was just every loss is so disheartening. When you're in this phase of, well, I don't know, it always is. Unless you can prove you have an edge, every loss is disheartening. My win rate's terrible. It's just totally tanked this month. So to take a third loss in a row was really hard. Um, at the time, I thought this setup was fine. Um, so there's two. I feel like there's two big hurdles in my way. One is the one I talked about in the from the last Monday's trade. I'm sorry, Tuesday's trade, where I have a little bit of FOMO and I want to be in a trade and I don't put my stop correctly. So that's one. That I've largely overcome. I rarely make this mistake, but it does come up once in a while. The second one showed up in this first trade, but I'm going to talk more about it after I talk about Thursday's trade. So, price action wasn't beautiful. So, the level I was looking to break over, price action wasn't great. I didn't think it was a bad setup though. Like, sometimes before I enter a trade, I feel like I have this like unsureness about entering because it's not perfect, right? And I didn't have that feeling. I was looking for a break over level. It broke. I took the trade. It didn't work. Looking back, I can see like price action was kind of choppy and I probably should not have entered, but it really didn't cross my mind at the time. Second trade I took a long over here. This was like felt pretty textbook to me. Now my system has me targeting the next level, which would have been the previous day high, but that felt too far away. So I only targeted 60 points and it went to the next level. So that's something I need to work on, is sticking to my system when it comes to targets. So I've scaled back to one contract. So because of that, I have to have variable take profits instead of what I was doing before. It was just one was at 40, one was at 80. So yeah, I should have set my target per my system. If I did, this would have been 150 points. And even with the loss from earlier, would have been a day that makes up for a max loss day. So I really, really, really need to stick to that. So that is a lesson learned from this day. Thursday was another 2-loss day, and I sound like a broken record, but it was extremely disheartening. I don't know. I maybe even cried. The first trade I took, I kind of knew I shouldn't have taken. So the second hurdle that I have it's pretty big. It feels not overcomable, but it seems like it should be. There was a flavor of it in yesterday's trade, taking a trade based off bad price action. And then the second one is taking a trade that doesn't meet my discretion rules, like perfect. So I've done the best that I can to write down my discretion rules, but there's still a little subjectivity. For example, one of my rules is price can't be choppy, slow, grindy. None of my setups work if price action is doing that. Probably 6 to 7 out of 10 times, I can identify it in the moment. I can say, this is not clean price action. But that's still a little subjective. I can convince my mind that it's good enough. So there's kind of a problem with that, but I don't know how to make it better. All right, so today I took a trade knowing that I wasn't 100% clear if it met my rules. It was close, but I was like I have this feeling that I know it's not perfect, but it's close enough, and I want to try it anyway. This phrase, I need alarms like blaring. I need my mouse to give me a little like electrical shock when this phrase goes through my mind. I want to try it anyway, because maybe this time it'll work. 7 out of 10 times, I'm guessing, it does not work. So just because a setup appears, like I want to take it, but I have this subjective element of like identifying if the price action is good to take that trade. And I feel like I know this. Like I know to not take the trade if it's not 100% clear, if the price action is no good. But I often want to try it anyway. And this is just a huge hurdle for me. So I took this trade short. This is also a day of like, I feel like I have horrible luck. I got stopped by 1.25 points. There was a potential for a second entry on the short, which more clearly met my discretion rules. However, based on my lessons learned from price action, the way price moved I didn't like, I decided not to enter, so I followed my rules, and it was a winning trade. And then I took another short. For me, it was textbook. I liked everything about it, and it was a loser. And that's what blew my account. I took a short over here. I lost the account on that trade. Today was just a day, and I've had these days before. It's been a while, but where I just felt like, what's the point of rules? Like, I decided to stay out of a trade because of my supposed lesson learned based off price action. It won. Took a textbook setup, and it lost. And it really like F's with my mind. Like, what's the point of having rules when this is what happens, you know? But I do think this has happened. I think it's been less frequent. But but wow, when it happens, it feels like it's all the time. But yeah, I don't know. This was super disappointing for me. Like I took a trade I shouldn't have taken. I skipped out when I had a second opportunity that met my criteria. I felt like it didn't follow my price action rules well enough. It won. Took a textbook setup. It lost. It's like, what are the odds of that happening? Like, and I feel like that happens very often where it just seems like things that are so unlikely. I don't know. It's hard to explain. All right, so I lost the 25K account. I still had a 50K account that's probably $300 to $400 away from blowing. It was the first account I bought with Lucid because they didn't have 25Ks at the time. But I felt so discouraged with how much profit I need to make that when they came out with the 25K, I decided to pick that one up and trade that instead. So part of me feels like I need to go back to demo, but if you don't trade your accounts like a certain number of days, they'll actually deactivate it. So I paid for this, I might as well trade it, even though I feel like I have no chance of passing. But anyway, the first trade I took was a short. I thought it was textbook. I thought it was perfect, A+, loved it. I entered correctly. I liked the price action. I had my resistance zone, like everything, and it lost. Trading has a way of just, I don't know, just effing with your mindset. Like, what is the point of following my setups when they don't work? And maybe they suck. I mean, I have a terrible win rate, so I have realized, like, maybe they're awful. Now, looking back, I can kind of see why it didn't work. I've got that London high level there. I feel like this is something I haven't seen recently. I don't know. I don't have it in my backtest sessions that I've studied. Every day is something different. Like this whole idea of like learn something from all of your losses is like, okay, I try, but I never see the same thing again. So it feels like whatever lesson I learned, just it doesn't apply moving forward because I just never see the same thing again. And I'm exaggerating. I very rarely see the same thing again. Like there's a lot of times where something looks similar, but it's a little different because of this level or this or whatever reason it is. It's different. And I don't know how many lessons I need to learn before I've learned them all. Probably never, because I've been here for a very, very long time. But anyway, yeah, so I thought it was A+ when I took it. It lost, which was very sad. And at this point, I kind of thought I was done trading. I just felt like I give up. I quit. Like, what's the point? And then I saw another trade setup forming. I decided to take a long off this, kind of like a break and retest, basically. And I just targeted 60 points because I don't have another level. I maybe got lucky. The high was 68. So I got most of the move from where I entered. Maybe I entered kind of late, but I followed my rules and everything. Both setups that I took today were both setups that I identified in the morning as setups I was willing to take. So I'm trying to be better about when I sit down before I start trading, kind of look at the charts and kind of talk about, kind of talk out loud which setups I'm looking for and what I'm willing to take. So when I sat down this morning, I was like, I'm not going to take a breakout here. I'm not going to take a breakout here. I'm willing to, if price comes up here and offers a pullback or depending on what it looks like, a short, if it breaks market structure, I'm willing to take that. If it comes down to same thing, I'm willing to take that. If it breaks over, comes down, retests, I'm also willing to take that. However, it doesn't mean that just because the setup appears means I'm automatically going to take it, because it depends on the price action. If it's slow, grindy, choppy, even if the setup appears, I'm going to try to not get into it. So, but anyways, both setups were the setups I said I was interested in. So I guess that's cool. Just to have that conviction of like, this was my plan, and that's what happened. So I did have 2 green days this week. However, because I also took a loss those same days, the green days are very small, and my loss days are just much, much, much larger, which is really frustrating, especially because Wednesday, I should have had a much larger win. So I talked a little bit about my lessons learned, but again, I just really struggle with this because every day is so different. I try to apply, it's really like the mindset thing, I guess, like not putting my stop correctly because I want to be in a trade. This idea of like, I want to try it anyways, awful. It's like mortal enemy number one for me. I don't know what I need to do to just stop in my tracks when that thought comes into my mind. I was very disappointed. Every week, every single week, I come to the charts thinking I'm better. I know what I need to look for. I know what I need to avoid because of my lessons learned from the week prior. And yet, I just seem to keep failing. I just fail to do things correctly. I fail to stay out of trades when I shouldn't get in. I keep thinking I'm getting better about it, but if that was the case, my P&L wouldn't just keep going down. I mean, that's what right? I don't know. Like, if I'm just making a mistake once in a while, I don't understand how my P&L it's just a massive nosedive. Out of the 6 losses I took this week, I would say 3 were like textbook setups I have no complaints on. 2, I thought were fine in the moment. And then there's really only 1 where I remember feeling like, I don't know if I should enter this. So I only have like an issue with really 1 of them out of the 6 losses I took. So I'm just kind of struggling to figure out like how to improve when that's the case. Obviously, I do see room for improvement. I've got to get rid of this try it anyway mindset. It's very, very hard for me. I'm disappointed I lost my account. Like, I get that people blow accounts, very common, whatever. But at one point, I was over $600 in drawdown. I had made almost all of that back. And I just remember thinking, if I can make $600, I can pass this account. Like, I have no reason I can't pass this account if I just keep doing what I was doing to make up that $600. Not only did I give that $600 back, but also another $400 to blow the account. And it was a huge shock to the fact that, like, I don't know, like my setups just don't always work. I mean, I know they don't always work. That's dumb to say. I realize there's a percent of losses that have to happen, but like, maybe they suck, like, I don't know if they work. I mean, they don't give me an edge. So I don't know. It was really hard because of that. Just thinking like, feeling like I could finally do this and for that to be taken away. Okay, so this is a pretty long recap, but I think I'm done. I didn't put points. I normally put like points or dollar amount. I don't even want to add it up. It was terrible. I took 8 trades. Only 2 were wins. The rest were losses, so it's going to be terrible. And yeah, I don't know. That's all I have to say. I hope you had a better trading week than I did. If not, remember, day trading is hard. Don't beat yourself up over it. Review your trades. Do your best to come up with lessons learned, even if it feels like they don't work. Do your best to apply them and get better every day. All right, have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week.